Today we're going to talk about a magical medicinal herb that you should be growing in your garden. Mullein. More specifically, hairy mullein, or greater mullein as it's called, or Therbisum thapsus to the more scientifically inclined. Now, mullein or hairy mullein is a biannual herb, which means it shoots these huge stems with their seeds on them every other year. These stems can grow up to 2 meters tall, and I've seen some even taller. Now, they'll become densely and tightly packed and adorned with these beautiful yellow flowers that bees absolutely love. When this is in full flower, you'll see the bees hanging around it. But you can see just how tall they get. Look at this guy. It's huge. Out of frame. Up to my hat. Now, mullein grows around here like a weed, and it is actually classed as a weed. It is native to kind of Europe and different parts of the Americas, but it's been introduced all over the world. Australia, Africa, and parts of Asia. And it loves our climate. Here are some more over here. It just grows wild on this property. We don't actually have to tend to it or look after it or do anything to it really, but you can see here there's a whole little grove, some flowers starting to come through, but as pretty as it is, the magic of mullein isn't actually in the flowers or the tall stems or its seeding process. It's in the leaves. The leaves are what you want to focus on. You see, the leaves, when you dry them out, you cut them up, you can put them in teas, and they have great respiratory benefits. And I'm speaking from personal experience here. I use mullein probably more predominantly through the winter periods. In the morning, especially if it's a bit cold and you get a bit croaky or you've got a bit of a cough, making a mullein tea will help right away. Now, because of how prevalent they are on this property, we've got some, like I showed you before, that are starting to grow their long stems and go to flower. But we've also got other ones that it's not that year for them. It's an in-between year. So let's go have a look at some of them and we'll see what they look like and where we can take it next. So here's a mature hairy mullein, and it hasn't quite sprouted its flower yet. And you can see this kind of rosette of leaves that form around the base. And I have not touched this plant. I haven't taken care of it at all. I've never watered it. This is one of probably at least 100 that I'm aware of on the property. What happens is each year, if you don't pick the leaves, they just kind of die and form a bit of a compost as they break down around the plant, which kind of adds nitrogen back to the soil and feeds it. But what we're going to do with this guy is we're actually going to pick some of these leaves and do the whole process into how we make our tea. So we'll just grab a couple of nice big leaves. There's a little bit of a smell to them. I'm not quite sure how to describe it. Well, it's not particular to anything, it's just greenery. Now, we'll take these leaves inside and let's start drying them out. See here, here's the one we just picked our leaves off. And about 3 feet away, there's another one, but it's in a different year. So you can see how tightly packed these little nodules are on the long stem, and it's just starting to flower. But given another week and a half, 2, maybe 3 weeks, all of these will be in full flower. And you can imagine, looking at it, it'll look really nice. Right, well, let's do this. So drying mullein isn't exactly rocket science. Here are the leaves that we just picked from the plant. We'll add these to our already existing pile of leaves. We just put them on a cutting board and leave them in a place that's kind of well lit, gets a little bit of a draft for as long as you want, for as long as it takes them to go crispy. That can use probably another week, but let me get some that we've previously dried. Here it is. Our dried mullein. And this stuff is good to be used in tea straight away. And it stores forever. This stuff is at least a year old. See that? That's how you know it's dry. So let's put on the kettle. Let's make a brew. Right, now you can see why this variety is called Hairy Mullein. It's just covered tiny little hairs. And it feels kind of like a towel, I guess you'd say. And you can see this kind of beautiful stem through the leaf, the details of the leaf. That's fine to use all of the leaf when it's dried and use it for tea. So we've boiled the kettle. Here's some of our dried leaf, stem and all, and we'll just crack it up. We'll put it in our little tea vessel. What it's called, tea strainer, I guess it's called. Put it in a cup. Now let's add our water and we'll let it sit for probably 5 to 7 minutes or until the water turns yellow. Right, we've let this tea steep for a few minutes, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but it's starting to turn yellow. And I'll let that sit for another couple of minutes just so it kind of gets a deep yellow to it, and then it's good to drink. Mullein's extremely easy to start if you want to start growing some. If you have access to an older plant, you can simply take some of that plant, some of that root system. Here's one that we moved from one down in the orchard. We took part of the root system, potted it, and that's probably been in that pot for about a month now. We haven't touched it. I haven't watered it. It is outside, so it has had rain, but it's extremely easy to start and propagate yourself. Alternatively, you can buy the seeds. Depending on where you are around the world, your kind of local nursery might stock them. Here in Australia, Bunnings Warehouse does have them. As a third option, I guess, if you have access to it, if you can get one of the long stems that we saw before that's going to flower with the seeds, cut that stem off and let it dry out until it all goes brown, and just shake it wherever you want to plant. The seeds will fall out. If you're really struggling, leave a comment on this video and we can get in contact and I can send you some. I'm sure that's fine. We'll have to check. I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, mullein, have a think about growing it. It's extremely good for your respiratory system. If you have asthmas, coughs, even with colds, cold mornings, winters, summers, it doesn't really matter. I drink it somewhat regularly. I probably have it maybe, I don't know, once a week, once a fortnight as needed. And I found it's helped me more than a lot of other things. I have a very mild form of adult asthma. And some mornings, whether the pollen's up or whether it's been a windy night or whatever it is, it can just be a little bit of a struggle to breathe. And I find a cup of mullein tea knocks that right out.